Money is not a cold piece of paper nor a hard coin in the hand. It is a current, a living stream, a symbol of divine substance flowing through our lives. Too often, we bind it with fear, thinking it scarce, grasping at it as if it might vanish. But money is obedient, responsive, alive with the vibration we send forth. When we see money as a friend, it comes gladly. When we see it as an enemy, it hides. Money is energy, and like energy, it seeks channels where it may move freely. If we are open, grateful, and fearless, we become such channels. When we say, "I am one with the infinite supply," we align ourselves with abundance, and the stream widens. Money does not create greed, fear does. Money does not corrupt, misuse does. Properly understood, money is a servant of good. It builds homes, heals the sick, feeds the hungry, and carries forth every noble vision. To condemn money is to condemn the bridge by which blessings travel. So let us speak of money with reverence. Let us treat it with joy. Let us command it with confidence and release it with love. For when we give in faith, we open the door to receive an overflowing measure. Today, choose to see money as divine circulation, coming, going, and returning multiplied. Know that as you align with the law of abundance, you will never want for supply. For the infinite source cannot be exhausted, and you are heir to it all. Money is not a lifeless thing. It is not merely paper stamped with ink or a coin struck with metal. It is a current, a flow, a symbol of life's infinite supply made visible. When we touch it, when we use it, when we think of it, we are engaging with a living stream of divine circulation. Too often, humanity has been taught to look upon money with fear, suspicion, or guilt. We are told that to desire money is somehow unspiritual, or that money corrupts the soul. Yet, let us pause and see with new eyes, money in itself is neither wicked nor holy. It is the consciousness with which we handle it that determines whether it becomes a chain, or a key, a burden, or a blessing. Think for a moment about how money moves. It changes hands constantly, flowing like a river that never rests. When it is hoarded in fear, it stagnates, like water that stands still and grows fall. But when it is allowed to circulate, when it is given with love, invested with vision, and spent with joy, it returns multiplied, just as rain returns to the sea. This is the great rhythm of abundance, giving and receiving, releasing and welcoming, sending forth and drawing back. Whoever enters this rhythm with faith becomes a conductor for prosperity. The truth is, money comes to where it is welcomed. It responds to the vibrations of our thoughts and feelings. If we regard it as scarce, if we clutch at it desperately, it slips from our grasp. If we see it as hostile or unworthy, it resists us. But when we greet it with gratitude, when we honor it as a channel for good, it hastens to us and delights to remain in our care. Just as a friend is drawn to warmth and kindness, so is money drawn to confidence and joy. It is not money that breeds greed or fear. It is the absence of faith, the belief in lack. When people think supply is limited, they scramble to seize more than their share, forgetting that the source of all is infinite and inexhaustible. When people forget the abundance of life, they try to control, to hoard, to manipulate. Yet the river of life cannot be dammed forever. The law of circulation will always find a way to move again, whether gently or with force. Let us consider what money truly does when used rightly. It builds homes where families can rest in safety. It plants seeds in the earth and brings forth harvests to feed the hungry. It pays for medicines that heal the body, and for books that enlighten the mind. It creates schools, hospitals, and shelters. It carries artists' visions to the world, funds the traveler's journey, and sustains the dreamer's invention. It is not a destroyer, but a servant. When placed in the hands of love, it becomes a powerful tool for blessing. To condemn money itself is to condemn the very bridge over which so many blessings travel. We must learn to speak of money in a new language. Instead of calling it evil or dangerous, let us call it faithful and abundant. Instead of cursing it for what we think it has denied us, let us bless it for the good it carries. Our words and thoughts are creative forces, and money, like every living current, responds to the command of spirit. When we affirm, "I live in the flow of abundance," we are not merely repeating empty words. We are tuning our vibration to the frequency of supply, and in doing so we become magnets to prosperity. Do not think that revering money means worshipping it. We do not worship the cup that holds the water, we honor the water itself. But we also respect the cup, for without it the water would spill and be lost. So it is with money. It is not the source of supply, but it is a vessel through which supply is carried. To misuse the vessel, to despise it, or to fear it, is to interrupt the flow. To honor it, to care for it, to release it with wisdom, is to allow the stream of blessings to reach its rightful destination. Many live in anxiety, fearing that there will never be enough. They count each coin with trembling hands, certain that the flow is running dry. Yet what is fear but faith inverted? Fear is faith in lack, while true faith is the recognition of abundance. Look at nature. The trees never doubt the rain will come. The sun rises faithfully each morning, and the seasons turn in perfect rhythm. Can we believe that the same universe which clothes the fields with flowers, and fills the rivers with water, would withhold supply from its children? The source of money, like the source of air and light, is infinite. It is only our thoughts of scarcity that create the appearance of limitation. To align with abundance, we must learn to give as well as to receive. Many try to clutch and hoard, thinking this will protect them. But the law of life is circulation. Just as the heart must pump blood outward in order to receive it back, so must we release money in faith in order to keep it flowing. When we give joyfully, without fear, we declare to the universe, I am not afraid of loss. I live in an endless ocean of supply. And the universe answers with overflowing measure, returning to us that which we have released. Some may ask, what if I give and nothing comes back? The answer is this: nothing given in faith is ever lost. What we release with joy returns, though not always through the same channel. Sometimes it comes from unexpected places, surprising us with its timing and form. But come it must, for the law of circulation cannot be broken. The hand that gives freely is the same hand that receives abundantly. When we recognize this truth, money ceases to be a source of worry and becomes instead a source of delight. We no longer see it as something to fear, but as something to celebrate. We do not shrink from using it, nor cling to it desperately, but allow it to pass through us like a song that never ends. With each bill we pay, we can bless the service it represents. With each gift we give, we can rejoice in the joy it creates. With each coin we receive, we can welcome it as a messenger of divine supply. Do not despise small amounts. A coin carries the same energy as a fortune, just as a single spark carries the same fire as a roaring blaze. Treat every form of money with respect, and it will multiply. Gratitude is the magnet that draws more into our lives. When we thank life for what we have, however little it seems, we open the way for greater blessings to arrive. When we complain and condemn, we shut the door against our own supply. The truth, beloved, is that you are heirs to infinite abundance. The source of money, the source of health, the source of joy, is the same source. The infinite intelligence that created you, sustains you, and delights in your prosperity. To believe that this source could ever run out is to deny its very nature. The fountain never ceases to flow, and you stand forever beneath its stream. So let us today cast off the chains of fear. Let us cease speaking of money as scarce, untrustworthy, or corrupt. Let us instead speak of it as faithful, plentiful, and obedient. Let us bless it in our hands and in the hands of others. Let us welcome it when it comes, and release it with love when it goes. For money is meant to move, and in moving, it returns multiplied. When you look upon money, see not paper and metal, but the evidence of life's generosity. When you spend, do so with a spirit of joy, knowing that what you release will circle back to you in greater measure. When you give, do so in faith, trusting that you cannot outgive the infinite. When you receive, do so with gratitude, acknowledging that every gift is a reminder of the endless stream that surrounds you. In truth, money is not separate from spirit. It is one of the many ways in which the invisible becomes visible. It is the language by which supply speaks in the world of form. To embrace money rightly is not to betray spirit, but to honor spirit's expression. When we lift our vision beyond fear and doubt, we see that money is simply one of life's many messengers, carrying with it the power to bless and to uplift. Therefore, friends, let us walk in a new relationship with money. Let us no longer be slaves to it, nor enemies of it, but wise stewards and joyful companions. Let us claim our rightful inheritance of abundance, not by striving and struggling, but by aligning with the eternal law of circulation. Let us know in the depth of our being that we are always supplied, always supported, always sustained, and as we live in this truth, money will serve us faithfully, carrying forth every noble vision, every generous impulse, every dream that seeks expression. For abundance is not a promise yet to come. It is a reality here and now. You are surrounded by it, enfolded in it, sustained by it. Open your heart to receive and open your hands to give. The current is already flowing, the stream already moving. All that is required is your faith, your gratitude, your willingness to participate in the dance of circulation. And so I say, rejoice in the presence of money. Bless it, honor it, use it for good. Trust it as a servant, not a master. Release it with love and watch it return in overflowing measure. For in truth you are heirs to infinite supply, and the river of abundance will never run dry. Our beliefs shape the flow of money, for money is never separate from consciousness. It is not the mere exchange of paper or metal, nor is it bound by figures in an account. Money is thought crystallized, energy given form, and it always responds to the inner patterns we hold. To understand money, we must first understand the mind that attracts or repels it, because the law is clear as within, so without. When we believe that money is scarce, we create scarcity. When we affirm that money is abundant, we open channels through which it may arrive. The world does not operate solely on outer circumstances, it moves in harmony with unseen laws. The individual who feels himself poor, who fears lack, who speaks of not enough, is setting into motion a vibration that closes the door to supply. The one who walks with assurance, who knows that the universe is rich and that he is heir to it, invites money to flow toward him in natural and effortless ways. consider the river. When we build a dam of doubt, of fear, of resentment, the river slows and pools, appearing stagnant. Yet the river is never gone, it is merely blocked. So it is with money. The universe holds infinite supply, and our beliefs act as the gates that allow it in or shut it out. If we say, money comes to me freely, easily and joyfully, we have lifted the gate and the current flows. If we mutter, I never have enough, the gate closes tight and we experience in the outer what we have affirmed within. Many people make the mistake of worshipping money as if it were the source itself. Others despise it, condemning it as evil. Both beliefs distort the flow. To worship money is to bind it with fear of loss. To condemn money is to reject the very channel through which good may come. True understanding lies in neither extreme. Money is a servant, not a master. It is a tool, not an idol. Properly understood, money is a symbol of divine substance, an instrument through which life's abundance expresses itself. If one holds in thought that money is difficult to obtain, he will find it difficult. If he holds that money slips away too easily, he will see it vanish as quickly as it comes. The subconscious mind does not question, it simply accepts the pattern impressed upon it. Therefore, every complaint about lack, every sigh of worry, every harsh word about bills becomes a command to the subconscious, and the outer world responds in kind. But when the mind is filled with assurance, when gratitude is spoken even in small supply, then money finds its way with grace and consistency. We cannot forget that belief is more than words, it is the feeling behind the words. To say, I am prosperous, while trembling in fear is to send forth two opposing currents, and the stronger one will prevail. Therefore, the work is to align thought and feeling until both move as one. Prosperity is not attained by hollow affirmations but by deep conviction that abundance is one's rightful inheritance. When the inner world accepts this truth, the outer world reflects it in tangible ways. Observe the child at play. He does not question whether the toys will be there tomorrow. He does not calculate with worry whether he has used too many blocks today and will run short tomorrow. He plays in the assurance of supply, knowing that what he needs will be there. Such is the faith that opens the flow of money. When we return to this childlike trust, we rest in the knowing that supply is unending, that opportunities will appear, that doors will open, that channels will be revealed. It is belief that shapes the manner of receiving as well. One person believes that only through hard struggle can he earn money, and so his life becomes toil and strain. Another believes that inspired ideas bring wealth, and he finds money arriving through channels of creativity and joy. Still another believes money is tainted, that those who hold it are selfish, and he unconsciously pushes it away, even as he longs for it. Life cannot give us what we secretly reject. The law is impartial, responding only to belief. Money often mirrors the way we feel about ourselves. The one who believes he is unworthy may repel opportunities for increase, even when they stand at his door. The one who believes she must sacrifice constantly for others may find money slipping away as quickly as she earns it. For she has accepted the belief that her own needs are secondary. But the person who affirms his divine worth, who accepts that abundance is his birthright, invites money as naturally as the sun invites the flower to bloom. This truth does not mean we may sit idly, doing nothing while expecting riches to rain from the sky. Belief is not laziness, it is alignment. When we truly believe in supply, we become attuned to ideas, opportunities, and inspirations that guide us to action. We see paths we had overlooked, we meet people we had never expected, we discover doors we never thought could open. Action taken in fear is struggle, but action taken in faith is flow. We must be watchful of the words we speak, for they reveal the beliefs we carry. The one who constantly says, I can't afford it, is reinforcing lack. A better declaration is, it is not yet mine to purchase, but all that I need comes at the right time. Words are seeds, and the harvest depends on what is planted. Careless speech about poverty, about debt, about hardship is like scattering weeds into the garden. If we wish the harvest of prosperity, we must plant seeds of abundance in our daily speech. Let us also release envy and jealousy. When another prospers, it is not our loss but our proof. Their abundance shows that supply is real and attainable. To begrudge another is to affirm secretly that we do not believe in infinite abundance. But to bless another's wealth is to say, what is possible for them is possible for me also. Such a belief widens the channel and prepares the way for our own good. Generosity, too, is a form of belief. When we give freely, we declare with our actions that supply is endless, that money will return multiplied. When we clutch tightly, we proclaim fear of loss, and the flow slows. Giving is not merely about charity, it is about circulation. To give in faith is to keep the current alive. What we release in joy returns to us, often in unexpected and multiplied forms. Belief also determines how we handle setbacks. There are those who, when faced with loss, affirm, this proves my fears were true. And so they spiral into further lack. Yet there are those who, even in temporary difficulty, declare, this is but a passage, and greater supply is on its way. And soon they see new channels open. It is not the outer circumstance but the inner belief that determines the outcome. One may ask, but what of the poor, what of those who have nothing? To this, the law answers the same as within, so without. Yet compassion must temper judgment, for many are bound by inherited beliefs, by collective fears passed from family to family, culture to culture. The work of transformation lies not only in individual belief but also in lifting the collective mind. When more people affirm abundance for all, when communities bless prosperity rather than condemn it, channels open on a greater scale. Therefore, let us take responsibility for our own beliefs, knowing that in doing so we help shift the whole. Each affirmation of abundance, each act of generosity, each word of faith is not only for ourselves but for the world. Money flows not only into individual pockets but into the great river of humanity, carrying with it the possibility of upliftment for all. To live in the belief of abundance is to live in freedom. No longer do we bow to fear of bills, of debts, of uncertain tomorrows. Instead, we walk with calm assurance, knowing that supply comes in perfect timing, in perfect measure, in perfect ways. We no longer chase money with desperation, nor do we shun it with disdain. We allow it to flow as naturally as air, as sunlight, as the tides. So, let the old beliefs of struggle, scarcity, and fear be released. Let us no longer speak of never enough, but of always supplied. Let us replace the thought of barely getting by with living in overflow. For the universe is abundant, and it delights in giving. Our task is not to beg, nor to force, but to believe, to align, to trust, and to receive. When the mind is lifted, the flow is certain. When belief is anchored in abundance, money arrives by right of consciousness. Opportunities appear, resources expand, needs are met, and desires are fulfilled. The outer world bends to the inner conviction, and prosperity becomes not a struggle but a song. Yes, our beliefs shape its flow. And when we believe in the infinite supply, when we trust that money is the servant of good, when we release fear and embrace faith, then money flows freely, joyfully, abundantly, just as the river runs without end. Money is a friend, not an enemy. Yet for countless people across the world, money has been given the role of adversary, oppressor, or betrayer. How strange it is that something meant to be a tool for blessing has been cast into the shadows of fear and mistrust. We hear it whispered in homes, preached in pulpits, and passed from one generation to the next. Money is the root of evil. Money changes people. Too much money will corrupt you. And so, like a misunderstood companion, money has been shut out, distrusted, and even despised. But the truth is far gentler and far more liberating. Money has no will of its own, no agenda apart from the intention placed upon it. Money, when rightly understood, is a faithful ally. To treat money as an enemy is to misunderstand its nature. Money is simply energy clothed in form, an earthly language that allows ideas to move, hands to work together, and visions to take shape. If we feared electricity, we would sit in the dark, never daring to flip a switch, all while the current waited patiently to light our homes. In the same way, when we fear money, we shut ourselves away from the current of abundance, and yet it still flows, waiting for us to accept it without fear. When you treat money as a friend, you welcome it with gratitude. A friend is greeted warmly, spoken of kindly, and trusted to stand by you. A friend is not chased down in desperation, nor held with suspicion. When money is welcomed in this spirit, it responds just as a friend would. It comes willingly, it lingers gladly, and it grows in the soil of gratitude. To condemn money while simultaneously desiring more of it is as contradictory as criticizing a friend, and then wondering why that friend avoids your company. Money mirrors the consciousness of the one who holds it. In hands guided by fear, it becomes a tight-fisted weapon of control. In hearts guided by love, it becomes a generous servant of good. Money is not inherently greedy, selfish, or corrupt. These qualities are born in the human heart, and money merely magnifies them. When a fearful soul gains wealth, fear multiplies. When a loving soul gains wealth, love multiplies. The character of money is neutral. It simply takes on the vibration of the one who directs it. If money is to be your friend, you must speak of it with respect. Words carry power, and every statement about money is a seed sown into the subconscious. To say, money is hard to come by, plants a seed of lack. To say, money is evil, plants a seed of rejection. To say, I never have enough, waters the soil of struggle. But to affirm money flows easily to me, money supports my good, I am always supplied, plants seeds of friendship and trust. As you change your speech, you change your relationship. You would not insult a friend and expect loyalty. Neither should you speak ill of money and expect it to bless you. When money is welcomed as a friend, it ceases to be a source of stress. Think of how you feel when a true friend enters the room. Your shoulders relax, your spirit lifts, and you know you are supported. This is the energy money can bring into your life when it is understood as ally. Instead of tensing with every bill or trembling at every financial challenge, you can say, money is my friend. It comes to me in right ways. It helps me fulfill my purpose. With that calm trust, solutions arise, opportunities appear, and supply flows in ways you could not have forced or planned. Many have been taught to feel guilty for desiring money, as if wanting more were a sign of weakness or greed. Yet is it greed to desire sunlight? Is it selfish to wish for water when thirsty? Money, like these, is a form of nourishment. It allows the body to be clothed, the mind to be educated, the family to be cared for, and the dreams of the heart to be realized. When you see money as a friend, you do not feel guilt for needing it, any more than you feel guilt for needing air. You recognize that your desire is not wrong but natural, and that money gladly fulfills its role in sustaining life. A friend supports your growth, and so does money. With it you can study, travel, explore, and create. Without it many doors remain closed. Money opens possibilities, and possibilities open souls. How many poets have written because money gave them time? How many healers have traveled because money gave them wings? How many acts of compassion have been multiplied because money made it possible? To call money an enemy is to close the door on countless blessings waiting to come forth. True friendship is not rooted in control or desperation, but in trust. In the same way, your relationship with money must be free from fear and clinging. Imagine a friend who is constantly suspected of betrayal, chased after with desperation, or hoarded possessively. That friendship would soon wither. Money, too, withdraws where it is mistrusted. But when you allow it to circulate freely, to come and go without anxiety, it grows stronger in its return. Just as you release a friend after a visit, knowing you will see them again, so you must release money with confidence, knowing it will return multiplied. One of the greatest shifts you can make is to see money not as a master, but as a servant. An enemy enslaves you, but a friend supports you. When you see money as enemy, you feel controlled by it. Every decision is weighed in fear of loss. But when you see it as friend, you take authority over it, using it wisely, directing it toward good and trusting it to obey. Money wants to serve. Its nature is to move, to circulate, to accomplish. When you stand firm as its master and ally, money takes its rightful place as your servant and supporter. It is said that the love of money is the root of evil, but it is not love in its purest sense that corrupts. It is attachment, obsession, and fear of loss. To love money rightly is to appreciate it, to respect its power, and to use it for good. A true friend is not worshipped nor idolized, but honored and cherished. Likewise, money should not be placed on a pedestal, nor feared as a rival to spiritual life, but embraced as a friend who makes spiritual service possible. How can temples be built, the poor be fed, or healing works be spread without the cooperation of money? It is the friend that carries love into action. Consider how a friend makes life easier. They lend a hand, bring encouragement, share resources. Money, too, does this. It eases burdens, solves practical needs, and creates comfort. But friendship is mutual. You must also be a friend to money. That means treating it with order, not waste, with gratitude, not disdain, with joy, not fear. Would you throw away a friend's gifts, or treat them with carelessness? Then treat money with honor, save it, give it, direct it with wisdom, and it will prove faithful. When you walk through life declaring, "Money is my friend," something subtle yet powerful begins to happen. Opportunities open. People who once seemed distant bring resources. Work becomes fruitful. Creative ideas find backing. And even when challenges arise, you meet them with calm confidence, knowing your friend has not abandoned you. For money, like any faithful ally, may come and go in form, but its essence is infinite. What departs returns again, often in greater measure. Imagine if every person on earth shifted their view and saw money as a friend. Wars for resources would lessen, envy would soften, and generosity would grow. Friends share, enemies hoard. If money is enemy, we clutch it tightly. If money is friend, we share it freely. In that sharing, everyone is lifted, and circulation increases for all. The entire world could be transformed by this simple recognition. Money is not to be feared nor hated, but befriended and guided. Therefore, choose today to make peace with money. Release the grudges you may have held, the times it seemed absent, the moments it felt scarce, the lessons taught by others that it was untrustworthy. Forgive the misunderstandings. Speak to money as you would to a loyal companion. I welcome you. I respect you. I use you wisely. I release you with joy. And I trust you to return multiplied. Money is not your enemy. It never was. It is a friend long waiting at your doorstep, hoping you would open the door without suspicion, hoping you would allow it to walk beside you, to support your dreams, to lighten your burdens, and to multiply your blessings. When you finally see it for what it is, a friend, not an enemy, you will no longer chase it in fear nor resist it in guilt. You will simply walk with it, hand in hand, into the abundant life that was always yours to claim. Abundance is infinite. It is the ever-present reality behind all appearances of lack. We live in a universe that knows no limitation, no restriction, no withholding. The stars do not ration their light, the oceans do not measure their waves, the trees do not count their leaves. Nature demonstrates, again and again, that supply is unending. And yet, humanity has been trained to see lack where there is plenty, to believe in struggle where ease is the law, to imagine scarcity when infinite good is at hand. The idea of limitation is born in thought. It is never born in truth. When we believe ourselves separated from the infinite, we begin to fear. Fear contracts. Fear clutches. Fear closes the hand that should be open to receive, and thus we experience what seems like lack. But the lack is never in the universe, the lack is in perception. Just as clouds may seem to hide the sun, but cannot extinguish it, so fear and doubt may veil the abundance that belongs to us, but they cannot destroy it. To know that abundance is infinite is to awaken to the great law of circulation. Everything moves in cycles. Breath comes in and breath goes out, tides rise and tides fall, seasons change and return. So too, does money, opportunity, health and love flow in and out of our lives. The error comes when we resist the outflow, believing it to be loss, or when we resist the inflow, believing we are unworthy. But infinite abundance knows no such boundaries. The flow is constant. The flow is certain. The flow is eternal. To claim infinite abundance is to realize that we need never fear tomorrow. What is needed tomorrow will appear tomorrow, just as surely as the dawn follows the night. The universe is never late and never lacking. Divine supply is punctual, precise, and inexhaustible. When we plant a seed, we do not stand over it in anxiety, wondering if it will sprout. We trust the law of growth. Likewise, when we affirm abundance, we may rest in faith, knowing the unseen work of spirit is already underway. Infinite abundance means there is no competition. What belongs to me cannot be taken from me, and what belongs to another cannot be taken by me. There is no shortage in divine supply. The more one receives, the more there is for all. The law of good is multiplication, not division. When I rejoice in another's prosperity, I am affirming the principle that prosperity is for all, and in so doing, I open the doors to my own. Envy is born of the illusion of scarcity, but joy in another's success aligns me with the truth of limitless abundance. When we look at nature, we see this law played out before our eyes. The earth does not produce one blade of grass, it produces millions. The ocean does not yield one drop of water, it yields endless tides. The air is not given in small rations, it is given in infinite measure. And yet, how quickly the human mind says, there is not enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough opportunity. But this is the great lie. There is always enough, because the source is infinite. The power of infinite abundance is unlocked by our words and thoughts. To say, I cannot afford it, is to cut off the flow. To say, I am always provided for, is to invite the current of supply to reveal itself. Words are seeds, and the harvest is certain. If the words are rooted in fear, the harvest will appear as lack. If the words are rooted in faith, the harvest will appear as plenty. Thus every declaration we make is a choice between the appearance of scarcity and the reality of abundance. When we align with the infinite, we no longer cling to money as if it were our savior. We see it as a channel, a vehicle, a symbol of the greater good behind it. The universe does not run on money, it runs on divine intelligence. Money is but one way in which supply takes form. If one channel closes, another opens, for the source is never exhausted. To fear the loss of a particular channel is to forget that the fountain never runs dry. The spring of infinite supply bubbles up eternally, and our task is only to stay open, receptive, and grateful. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the doors of abundance. When we give thanks for what is, we align with the flow of what is coming. Gratitude dissolves fear, for it recognizes that we already live in the presence of infinite good. The grateful heart does not beg, does not complain, does not worry. It trusts, it praises, it receives. Every grateful thought is a magnet, drawing to itself more of that which it blesses. To say, thank you, with sincerity is to declare, I am already in possession of infinite abundance, and I joyfully welcome its manifestation. A faith is the companion of gratitude. Faith says, I do not yet see it with my eyes, but I know it is mine. Faith looks beyond appearances to the unseen reality. Faith is the bridge from thought to form, from word to manifestation. Without faith, gratitude is shallow. Without gratitude, faith is restless. But together, they are the twin wings that lift us into the consciousness of abundance. And once lifted, we cannot fall, for abundance is infinite, eternal, unchanging. When we understand that abundance is infinite, we let go of the desperate pursuit of wealth. We no longer chase, we attract. We no longer beg, we command. We no longer strain, we rest. For the law of infinite abundance does not require struggle, it requires alignment. A flower does not struggle to bloom, it opens effortlessly to the sun. So too, when we rest in the awareness of infinite supply, our good blossoms naturally. We need not force the manifestation. We need only align with the law. This alignment begins within. It is not about chasing opportunities outwardly, but about affirming truth inwardly. The world may shout of recessions, shortages, debts, and crises. But the spirit whispers, all is provided. The outward world reflects the inward state. When the mind is filled with thoughts of fear, the outer world mirrors lack. When the mind is filled with thoughts of abundance, the outer world mirrors supply. Thus, to change the outer, we must first change the inner. To claim infinite abundance inwardly is to draw it into outward expression. Infinite abundance is not limited to money alone. It includes health, joy, love, peace, creativity, and every good thing. To reduce abundance only to money is to miss the fullness of the gift. The same law that provides wealth provides healing, harmony, and inspiration. When we affirm, I live in infinite abundance, we are claiming wholeness in every area of life. We are declaring that no corner of our existence can be left in darkness, for the infinite light of supply fills all. There may be times when appearances seem contrary, when the bank account is low, when opportunities seem absent, when health feels fragile. Yet these are but shadows, temporary appearances with no true substance. Shadows cannot erase the sun, they only remind us that light is near. Likewise, seeming lack cannot erase infinite abundance, it only beckons us to affirm it more strongly. In those moments we stand firm and say, this too shall pass, for infinite abundance is my reality. I refuse to be deceived by appearances. The great secret is that abundance is not something we chase, it is something we release. It is already within us, waiting to be expressed. Just as a fountain bubbles up from within the earth, so abundance flows from within our consciousness. When we shift from fear to faith, from doubt to trust, from complaint to gratitude, we release the spring that has always been present. Abundance is not earned, it is claimed. It is not withheld, it is awaited. It is not outside us, it is within us. Therefore, let us walk each day in the awareness that abundance is infinite. Let us no longer bind ourselves with thoughts of scarcity. Let us no longer diminish our good by fearing loss. Let us no longer delay our blessings with words of lack. Instead, let us affirm, I live in infinite abundance. Supply is ever flowing. I am one with the source of all good. What I need appears before I ask. What I give returns multiplied. My life overflows with blessings, for I am heir to the infinite. And as we hold to this truth, appearances shift. Opportunities unfold where none seem possible. Doors open where walls once stood. Supply comes from channels unexpected, in ways unimagined. And we recognize that it was never the world that was limited, but only our vision, for abundance is infinite. It always has been, it always will be. When people look at the world, many are quick to say, money is the root of all evil. They point to crimes, wars, and betrayals, and they trace them back to money. But this is a misunderstanding, a distortion of a far greater truth. Money itself has no power to corrupt. Money is neutral, like air or water. It is neither good nor bad. It is a servant, a symbol, a vehicle. The real culprit behind greed and corruption is fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of losing, fear of being left behind, fear of being powerless. Fear is the shadow that drives humanity into misuse, while money itself remains innocent, waiting to be directed by the consciousness of its holder. Let us imagine a world without fear. In such a world, money would flow freely. No one would hoard, because no one would feel threatened by lack. No one would steal, because they would know that supply is endless and available to all. No one would manipulate or deceive, because trust would take the place of fear. Greed, after all, is not a love of money. It is a terror of losing, a desperate clutching born from the belief that tomorrow may not provide. Greed says, I must take more than I need now, for there may not be enough later. Without fear, that voice falls silent. Without fear, money circulates as naturally as breath, moving to where it is needed, leaving no one in want. Corruption, too, has its roots in fear. A leader accepts a bribe not out of love for money, but out of fear. Fear of losing influence, fear of scarcity, fear that their power will slip away. A business manipulates the market not because money itself has bewitched it, but because of the fear that others may prosper more, or that their survival depends on domination. Remove the fear and money becomes harmless, even benevolent. It is not the dollar bill, the coin, or the note that whispers temptation. It is the fearful thought in the human heart. Money is an amplifier. It magnifies what is already present. In the hands of the fearful, it magnifies lack, mistrust, and greed. In the hands of the loving, it magnifies generosity, creation, and abundance. Give money to a fearful man, and he may clutch it, hoard it, or misuse it. Give money to a wise and fearless woman, and she will build schools, heal communities, uplift the hungry, and set blessings into motion. The same currency changes character depending on the consciousness that directs it. This is why it is essential to free ourselves from the bondage of fear if we wish to use money for good. Consider how nature operates. The tree does not fear that it will not grow leaves next spring. The river does not fear that its waters will dry up forever. The sun does not fear that tomorrow it may not rise. All of creation is anchored in faith, in the certainty that supply and renewal are endless. Only human beings in their forgetfulness slip into fear, thinking the flow of life can be cut off. And when fear arises, greed follows. When greed follows, corruption blooms. Yet when we return to the truth of abundance, fear dissolves, and money resumes its rightful role, a tool of service, an instrument of joy, a channel of good. How many times have we seen that those who trust life's flow are generous, open, and giving even when their means are modest? And how often have we seen those who are wealthy but consumed by fear live as misers, hoarding every coin, suspicious of every hand? It is not the amount of money that determines greed. It is the state of mind. A person with little money can be free of greed if they live in trust, and a person with great wealth can be free of corruption if they live in faith. The root of the issue is always fear, never money itself. Fear whispers, "You are separate from the source. You are on your own. There is not enough to go around." And once a person believes this lie, money becomes a shield, a fortress, a weapon. They believe they must grasp and guard it to survive, but the truth is that we are never separate from supply. The same intelligence that clothes the lily, that feeds the sparrow, that renews the earth each season, is the same intelligence that supplies us, in ways both seen and unseen. When we awaken to this truth, fear loses its grip, and our relationship with money transforms. It is not uncommon to meet people who feel guilty about money, as if having it or desiring it is unspiritual or shameful. Yet guilt too is a mask of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of condemnation, fear of unworthiness. Such beliefs keep people small and prevent them from using money for good. To reject money is to reject a channel through which divine good can flow. Imagine a teacher who refuses chalk and says, "I will teach without tools." Imagine a musician who refuses instruments and says, "I will make music with silence." Money is like chalk and instruments. It is a tool. It carries the power of creation when wielded with clarity and love. To fear it or reject it is to close the door on opportunities to serve. The person who is fearless in money matters is never enslaved by it. They see money as circulating energy. When it comes, they welcome it. When it goes, they release it. They know it will return multiplied, because the universe never ceases to circulate. Such a person cannot be greedy, because greed has no soil in which to grow. They cannot be corrupted, because they have nothing to fear. Their trust is anchored in a source greater than any bank, any paycheck, any market. They live in the flow, and the flow sustains them. Let us then examine our own hearts. Where does fear still whisper? Where do we still grasp doubt or cling? Do we feel uneasy when we spend? Do we hesitate to give, fearing we may lack tomorrow? These are the little seeds of fear that grow into greed if left unchecked. The remedy is faith. Faith in an abundant universe, faith in the endlessness of supply, faith that what we release returns to us in perfect measure. Each act of fearless giving breaks fear's hold, dissolves greed's shadow, and restores money to its rightful place. History has shown us many examples. Great philanthropists who gave away fortunes did so not because they had so much money, but because they had so little fear. Innovators who created industries were not motivated by greed, but by vision, trust, and the joy of creation. Conversely, countless stories of corruption and hoarding trace back to individuals and systems driven by fear, fear of loss, fear of competition, fear of the unknown. The pattern repeats through time, reminding us that money is never the villain. It is the fear behind the curtain that pulls the strings. If we want to heal our relationship with money, we must heal our relationship with fear. We must replace fear with trust, scarcity with abundance, doubt with certainty. We must declare within ourselves, "I live in a universe of plenty. What I need is always provided. Money is my servant, never my master. I use it for good and it multiplies in my hands." With such affirmations, fear loses its foundation, greed finds no home, and corruption has no foothold. As we move into this awareness, we become stewards of money, not slaves to it. We can welcome it joyfully, direct it wisely, and release it freely. We can honor it as a channel for blessing without falling into the shadows of fear. When enough hearts awaken to this truth, entire societies will shift. Economies will no longer be built on fear of loss, but on trust in circulation. Communities will thrive because people will give without clutching, invest without suspicion, and receive without guilt. In such a world, money will cease to be feared or condemned. It will be seen for what it truly is, a neutral, faithful servant of those who are fearless enough to use it well. Therefore, let us remember and affirm again: money is not the root of greed, nor the cause of corruption. Fear is the root, fear is the shadow, fear is the thief. Remove fear and money is innocent. Remove fear and money becomes holy. Remove fear, and what once bound us becomes a blessing. So I invite you to release your fears today. Speak to money as a friend. Bless it as it comes into your hands. Bless it as it leaves. Trust in the infinite supply that sustains you. Know that there is always more than enough, for you are heir to an inexhaustible source. As you live this truth, you will find that greed cannot touch you, corruption cannot tempt you, and money becomes a radiant tool for good. And in that freedom, you will discover what wealth truly means, not piles of gold locked away, but a fearless heart that knows it will always be provided for, today, tomorrow, and forever. Money is a servant of good. Too often humanity has misunderstood this truth, either by worshipping money as a master or by condemning it as an enemy. Both attitudes place money in the wrong role. Money was never intended to rule over us, nor was it meant to be scorned as a source of corruption. Its rightful place is as a loyal and willing servant, a channel through which blessings flow and the higher purposes of life are made manifest. Consider for a moment what money really represents. It is not merely metal or paper or numbers on a screen. These are only its outer forms, just as a letter is only the carrier of a message. Money is a symbol of exchange, a token of value, a means by which energy moves from one life to another. When we strip away the fears, the judgments, and the misunderstandings that cling to the idea of money, we see it for what it truly is, a tool. Like fire, it can warm or it can burn. Like water, it can nourish or it can destroy. Its effect depends not on the substance itself, but on the consciousness directing it. When money serves the higher self, it feeds the hungry, clothes the poor, builds schools, heals the sick, and carries hope to places where despair once dwelled. It becomes the invisible bridge between need and fulfillment. Think of every hospital built, every child educated, every work of art commissioned, every dream of invention brought to life. Each required money in some form. Not as a tyrant, but as a servant carrying out the work of vision, faith, and love. The tragedy lies not in money itself, but in the distorted relationship we sometimes form with it. Fear makes us believe that money is scarce, and so we clutch it tightly, refusing to release it, as though hoarding could ever lead to abundance. Greed makes us treat it as a master, bowing to its dictates, sacrificing integrity and peace for the illusion of gain. Yet in both cases, we forget the truth. Money has no power of its own. It is not a master unless we enthrone it. It is not an enemy unless we curse it. In its rightful place, it is a servant, and like any good servant, it awaits clear instruction. When the mind is clouded by fear, money seems elusive, always slipping away, never enough. But when the mind rests in faith, money flows naturally, as water flows downhill, without strain or resistance. For money, like energy, seeks channels through which it may circulate. When we open ourselves as channels, by giving with joy, by trusting the law of supply, by releasing with gratitude, money returns multiplied, not because of magic or chance, but because circulation is the law of life itself. Just as the blood must flow to keep the body alive, money must circulate to keep society alive. To condemn money is to misunderstand the very rhythm of existence. Imagine a world where each person saw money as a sacred servant of good. Instead of grasping for it in fear, people would welcome it in trust. Instead of hoarding it, they would release it with confidence, knowing it must return in new form. Instead of worshipping it, they would honor it as one honors a faithful helper. In such a world, generosity would not be rare but natural. Wealth would not separate but connect. Prosperity would not be a privilege of the few, but a natural outflow of divine order. This is not a faraway dream. It begins within each individual. Each time we bless money as it comes into our lives, we invite it to return in greater measure. Each time we spend with gratitude rather than fear, we keep the channels of circulation open. Each time we give with joy, we plant seeds of increase. The consciousness behind the act is what determines the harvest. For when money is seen as divine circulation, it cannot help but multiply and return. Let us also remember that money does not diminish spirituality, it supports it. Many have believed that holiness requires poverty, that to be pure one must have nothing. But true purity is not in lack, it is in freedom. A person may have much and yet be bound by greed. Another may have little and yet be bound by fear. Both are forms of bondage. Freedom lies in knowing that supply is infinite, that money is not the source but the channel, and that the source cannot fail. When one stands in that truth, money loses its power to bind. It becomes light, fluid, obedient. It does not enslave, it serves. Think of the sunlight that pours upon the earth. Does the sun ever fear that it will run out of light? Does it ration its rays, giving only to a chosen few? No, it shines because it is its nature to shine, and in shining it sustains life. So it is with supply. The infinite source cannot be exhausted. Money is only one of the many ways that source expresses itself. To cling to it in fear is like trying to trap sunlight in a box. The moment we close the lid, the light is gone. To live in faith is to stand in the open, allowing the rays to fall freely, knowing that as long as the source shines, there will always be light. When money serves good, it brings dignity to labor, joy to creativity, and stability to families. It allows artists to create, thinkers to invent, healers to heal. It makes possible the journeys of discovery, the acts of compassion, the works of beauty that uplift the human spirit. Even the simplest acts of kindness, a meal for a stranger, a gift for a child, a donation for a cause, are carried on the wings of money. To condemn it is to condemn the very channel by which love takes tangible form. Therefore, let us change our words about money. Let us no longer say, money is the root of evil. But instead, money is a servant of good. Let us speak to it as we would speak to a faithful friend. You are welcome in my life. You are free to come and free to go. You serve the highest good, and in serving good you multiply. In this way, we release it from the chains of fear and misuse, and we place it back in the role it was always meant to play. The transformation begins in the unseen. It begins in the thoughts we hold and the words we speak. When we bless money instead of cursing it, when we affirm abundance instead of lack, when we see ourselves as heirs to infinite supply rather than victims of scarcity, The outer circumstances shift to mirror that inner truth. Supply flows in new ways, opportunities arise, doors open where once there were walls. Money, obedient to the higher law, takes its place as servant, and in serving us it serves the whole. Let us remember also that money, like all energy, must be directed with wisdom. Just as fire in a hearth warms the home, but fire untended can destroy, so must money be guided by clarity of intention. To use money rightly is to let it move where it uplifts, supports, and heals. When we release it with that consciousness, it does not diminish us, it multiplies through the good it creates. And what we send forth in good always returns to us, often in ways greater than we can imagine. So let us walk forth with new vision. Let us no longer fear money, nor worship it, nor despise it. Let us instead recognize it as a faithful servant, eager to carry out the commands of love, wisdom, and truth. Let us put it to work in building, blessing, and creating. Let us circulate it with joy, knowing it is never lost but always returning, like the tide to the shore. For money is not our master, it is not our enemy, it is our servant, and as such, it is meant to serve the highest good. When we understand this, when we align our hearts with abundance and our hands with generosity, money ceases to be a burden and becomes a blessing. It becomes the instrument through which divine substance takes form in our lives. And so we stand today in the light of a new understanding. Money is not to be feared, nor hoarded, nor condemned. It is to be blessed, welcomed, directed, and released. It is to be used with wisdom and joy. It is to be seen for what it truly is, a servant of good. And in recognizing this truth, we unlock the door to abundance, not only for ourselves but for all humanity. To condemn money is to misunderstand its nature. Many people grow up hearing that money is the root of all evil, that wealth corrupts, that to desire abundance is selfish or worldly. These beliefs, repeated like a chant, create invisible chains in the mind. They form barriers that shut off the natural flow of prosperity that is meant to move freely through every life. In truth, money itself holds no evil, no virtue. It is a neutral force, a symbol, a tool. What gives it character is the consciousness of the one who holds it. Think of money as a mirror. It reflects the beliefs, intentions, and energy of the person who uses it. In the hands of one who loves, it heals. In the hands of one who fears, it becomes a weapon. But the mirror itself is innocent. To condemn the mirror because of what it reflects is to misunderstand its role. Money only magnifies what already exists in the heart. When love rules, when fear rules, money extends fear. To condemn money is also to condemn circulation itself. Imagine if the river said to the water, "You are evil. I do not want you." The river would dry, and life along its banks would wither. In the same way, when we push money away with judgment, we dam the flow of good in our lives. We create a spiritual drought. Opportunities pass us by, doors remain closed, and we find ourselves struggling against lack, not because supply is absent, but because we have refused its expression. Many who condemn money believe they are being spiritual, virtuous, or humble. They think that rejecting wealth makes them pure. But purity does not come from lack. Purity is not born of deprivation. True purity is the clear channel through which divine substance flows unhindered. When we condemn money, we confuse humility with limitation. We close our hands when life asks us to open them. Blessings require channels. Imagine a generous giver with infinite treasures, eager to pour them forth, but unable to find vessels willing to receive. The treasures pile up in unseen realms, while those who need them cry out in want. Condemning money closes the vessel. It says to the universe, "Do not bless me. I do not trust your gifts. I do not believe in your abundance." What answer can life give but to withhold? Not in punishment, but in respect of free will. If we refuse the channel of money, we refuse one of the most immediate ways blessings travel. Money builds hospitals, feeds the hungry, educates children, restores communities, and fulfills visions. It is the invisible dream made tangible. To despise it is to despise the bridge by which compassion takes form. A kind thought is beautiful, but a kind thought backed by resources multiplies its reach. A prayer for the hungry is noble, but a prayer answered with food on the table transforms lives. The food requires means, and the means often come through money. When we condemn money, we make it harder for love to travel into action. It is important to understand that money, like breath, is meant to circulate. To hoard it in fear is to choke the flow, but to condemn it outright is to refuse to breathe at all. Both are errors. The healthy attitude is balance, to welcome money as it arrives, to release it with trust, to know that the current will always return, just as the breath always follows the rhythm of in and out. Those who condemn money break the rhythm, holding only the out, and denying the in. They imagine they are free from attachment, but in truth, they are bound by resistance. Consider the flower in the field. It does not apologize for receiving sunlight. It does not condemn the rain. It welcomes both, knowing they are the blessing of life. Money, too, is sunlight and rain in another form. It nourishes, strengthens, and supports growth. Why should we call it evil when it is simply another mode of supply? The flower would wither if it rejected the rain. so too does the human spirit shrink when it rejects the flow of money. Often, those who condemn money do so because they have seen it misused. They have witnessed greed, corruption, or exploitation, and they confuse the abuse with the tool. But should we condemn words because lies are spoken? Should we condemn fire because it sometimes burns? Should we condemn the ocean because it sometimes storms? No. We learn to use the tool wisely, not to fear it. We learn to speak truth, to tend the fire, to sail the ocean. In the same way, we learn to use money as a servant of good. Condemning money also creates inner conflict. On one hand, the soul longs for freedom, expression, and the power to serve. On the other hand, the mind whispers, but money is wrong. This inner division weakens faith. It causes guilt in receiving, fear in giving, and shame in desiring more. Such guilt poisons prosperity at its roots. The person finds themselves working hard yet never satisfied, seeking supply yet secretly despising it. Only when we reconcile with money, seeing it as a neutral force guided by consciousness, can we find peace. There is no virtue in poverty, unless poverty is chosen as a spiritual discipline with joy and clarity. But forced poverty, born of condemnation, is not holy. It is resistance masquerading as virtue. Life does not celebrate lack, it celebrates fullness. The tree bears fruit, the sun shines without measure, the stars fill the heavens in uncountable number. Abundance is the nature of reality. To reject money, which is one of the expressions of this abundance, is to reject the natural law of plenty. Blessings are not limited. They overflow from an infinite source. But to experience them, we must open channels. Money is one such channel, and a powerful one. When we condemn it, we shrink the number of ways in which good can reach us. It is like standing at a feast with arms crossed, refusing to eat because the food was served on a plate we do not approve of. The feast remains, but we stay hungry by choice. Let us instead shift our perspective. Let us see money as a servant, never a master. Let us see it as a tool of love, not as a chain of greed. Let us affirm that money in our hands multiplies blessings, extends kindness, builds peace. When we adopt this view, we welcome money without fear. We bless it as it comes and bless it as it goes. We release it joyfully, knowing it will return, and we find that blessings multiply in ways beyond measure. Condemnation creates walls. Blessing creates doors. If we bless money, we create doors through which more good can flow. Every coin in our hand, every bill in our wallet, every transaction we make can be an opportunity to affirm abundance. Instead of saying, money is the root of evil, let us say, money is a channel of good in my life. Instead of thinking, I should not want money, let us declare, I welcome supply, for I use it wisely and lovingly. In this way, money ceases to be a source of guilt and becomes a source of gratitude. The truth is simple: condemning money limits blessings because it blocks a major pathway of supply. It is like rejecting rain in a desert, like shutting windows against sunlight, like closing the door on a guest who brings gifts. Life offers abundance in countless forms: friendship, health, wisdom, creativity, and yes, money. To condemn any of these is to live half a life. To welcome them all is to live in fullness. So let us open our hearts to money, not with greed, but with reverence. Let us speak well of it, treat it kindly, guide it toward good works. Let us see it as the obedient servant of divine supply, ready to carry blessings wherever we send it. And as we bless money, money blesses us in return, multiplying our capacity to give, to serve, and to shine. Remember this: it is not money that is dangerous, but fear. It is not wealth that corrupts, but ignorance. Money is a stream and you are the channel. If you bless the stream, it nourishes. If you curse it, it dries. Choose blessing. Choose flow. Choose to see money as one of the many gifts of an infinite universe, and watch as the blessings you once longed for come rushing into your life in overflowing measure. To condemn money is to misunderstand its nature. Many people grow up hearing that money is the root of all evil, that wealth corrupts, that to desire abundance is selfish or worldly. These beliefs, repeated like a chant, create invisible chains in the mind. They form barriers that shut off the natural flow of prosperity that is meant to move freely through every life. In truth, money itself holds no evil, no virtue. It is a neutral force, a symbol, a tool. What gives it character is the consciousness of the one who holds it. Think of money as a mirror. It reflects the beliefs, intentions, and energy of the person who uses it. In the hands of one who loves, it heals. In the hands of one who fears, it becomes a weapon. But the mirror itself is innocent. To condemn the mirror because of what it reflects is to misunderstand its role. Money only magnifies what already exists in the heart. When love rules, money extends love. When fear rules, money extends fear. To condemn money is also to condemn circulation itself. Imagine if the river said to the water, "You are evil, I do not want you." The river would dry and life along its banks would wither. In the same way, when we push money away with judgment, we dam the flow of good in our lives. We create a spiritual drought. Opportunities pass us by, doors remain closed, and we find ourselves struggling against lack, not because supply is absent, but because we have refused its expression. Many who condemn money believe they are being spiritual, virtuous, or humble. They think that rejecting wealth makes them pure. But purity does not come from lack. Purity is not born of deprivation. True purity is the clear channel through which divine substance flows unhindered. When we condemn money, we confuse humility with limitation. We close our hands when life asks us to open them. Blessings require channels. Imagine a generous giver with infinite treasures, eager to pour them forth, but unable to find vessels willing to receive. The treasures pile up in unseen realms while those who need them cry out in want. Condemning money closes the vessel. It says to the universe, "Do not bless me. I do not trust your gifts. I do not believe in your abundance." What answer can life give but to withhold? Not in punishment, but in respect of free will. If we refuse the channel of money, we refuse one of the most immediate ways blessings travel. Money builds hospitals, feeds the hungry, educates children, restores communities, and fulfills visions. It is the invisible dream made tangible. To despise it is to despise the bridge by which compassion takes form. A kind thought is beautiful, but a kind thought backed by resources multiplies its reach. A prayer for the hungry is noble, but a prayer answered with food on the table transforms lives. The food requires means, and the means often come through money. When we condemn money, we make it harder for love to travel into action. It is important to understand that money, like breath, is meant to circulate. To hoard it in fear is to choke the flow, but to condemn it outright is to refuse to breathe at all. Both are errors. The healthy attitude is balanced, to welcome money as it arrives, to release it with trust, to know that the current will always return, just as the breath always follows the rhythm of in and out. Those who condemn money break the rhythm, holding only the out, and denying the win. They imagine they are free from attachment, but in truth, they are bound by resistance. Consider the flower in the field. It does not apologize for receiving sunlight. It does not condemn the rain. It welcomes both, knowing they are the blessing of life. Money, too, is sunlight and rain in another form. It nourishes, strengthens, and supports growth. Why should we call it evil when it is simply another mode of supply? The flower would wither if it rejected the rain. So too does the human spirit shrink when it rejects the flow of money. Often, those who condemn money do so because they have seen it misused. They have witnessed greed, corruption, or exploitation, and they confuse the abuse with the tool. But should we condemn words because lies are spoken? Should we condemn fire because it sometimes burns? Should we condemn the ocean because it sometimes storms? No. We learn to use the tool wisely, not to fear it. We learn to speak truth, to tend the fire, to sail the ocean. In the same way, we learn to use money as a servant of good. Condemning money also creates inner conflict. On one hand, the soul longs for freedom, expression, and the power to serve. On the other hand, the mind whispers, "But money is wrong." This inner division weakens faith. It causes guilt in receiving, fear in giving, and shame in desiring more. Such guilt poisons prosperity at its roots. The person finds themselves working hard yet never satisfied, seeking supply yet secretly despising it. Only when we reconcile with money, seeing it as a neutral force guided by consciousness, can we find peace. There is no virtue in poverty, unless poverty is chosen as a spiritual discipline with joy and clarity. But forced poverty born of condemnation is not holy, it is resistance masquerading as virtue. Life does not celebrate lack, it celebrates fullness. The tree bears fruit, the sun shines without measure, the stars fill the heavens in uncountable number. Abundance is the nature of reality. To reject money, which is one of the expressions of this abundance, is to reject the natural law of plenty. Blessings are not limited. They overflow from an infinite source. But to experience them, we must open channels. Money is one such channel, and a powerful one. When we condemn it, we shrink the number of ways in which good can reach us. It is like standing at a feast with arms crossed, refusing to eat because the food was served on a plate we do not approve of. The feast remains, but we stay hungry by choice. Let us instead shift our perspective. Let us see money as a servant, never a master. Let us see it as a tool of love, not as a chain of greed. Let us affirm that money in our hands multiplies blessings, extends kindness, builds peace. When we adopt this view, we welcome money without fear. We bless it as it comes and bless it as it goes. We release it joyfully, knowing it will return. And we find that blessings multiply in ways beyond measure. Condemnation creates walls. Blessing creates doors. If we bless money, we create doors through which more good can flow. Every coin in our hand, every bill in our wallet, every transaction we make can be an opportunity to affirm abundance. Instead of saying, "Money is the root of evil," let us say, "Money is a channel of good in my life." Instead of thinking, "I should not want money," let us declare, "I welcome supply, for I use it wisely and lovingly." In this way, money ceases to be a source of guilt and becomes a source of gratitude. The truth is simple: condemning money limits blessings because it blocks a major pathway of supply. It is like rejecting rain in a desert, like shutting windows against sunlight, like closing the door on a guest who brings gifts. Life offers abundance in countless forms: friendship, health, wisdom, creativity, and yes, money. To condemn any of these is to live half a life. To welcome them all is to live in fullness. So let us open our hearts to money, not with greed, but with reverence. Let us speak well of it, treat it kindly, guide it toward good works. Let us see it as the obedient servant of divine supply, ready to carry blessings wherever we send it. And as we bless money, money blesses us in return, multiplying our capacity to give, to serve, and to shine. Remember this: it is not money that is dangerous but fear. It is not wealth that corrupts, but ignorance. Money is a stream, and you are the channel. If you bless the stream, it nourishes. If you curse it, it dries. Choose blessing. Choose flow. Choose to see money as one of the many gifts of an infinite universe, and watch as the blessings you once longed for come rushing into your life in overflowing measure. Gratitude and joy magnetize wealth. These two states of the heart are not just pleasant emotions, they are divine magnets that draw at us the very substance of prosperity. They are keys that open the treasury of heaven and invite the flow of abundance into our lives. Where gratitude is, scarcity cannot dwell. Where joy resides, lack is dissolved. Many people believe that wealth is created solely through labor, effort, or strategy. They chase money with anxious hearts, striving endlessly and feeling that only through sweat can supply be gained. Yet when we observe life closely, we see a different law at work. There are those who toil from dawn until midnight and yet remain in struggle, while others, moving with a light and joyful spirit, seem to attract opportunities and prosperity effortlessly. What is the difference? It is the vibration they carry. Gratitude and joy set them apart, and those vibrations call wealth like a lodestone draws iron. Gratitude is not a reaction, it is a choice. Most people wait until something good arrives before they give thanks. But the wise know that gratitude itself is the cause, not merely the effect. When we give thanks in advance, we align with the unseen good that is already ours in the realm of spirit. Gratitude says, I know the supply is here, though my eyes may not yet see it. It is an act of faith, a declaration of certainty, and because universal law responds to certainty, the very act of gratitude pulls the unseen into the seen, the invisible into form. Consider the person who awakens each day and immediately gives thanks. Thank you for this new morning. Thank you for the breath in my lungs, for the warmth of my bed, for the roof above me. Thank you for supply flowing into my life, for opportunities that unfold, for love and health and peace. That individual is attuning themselves to abundance before the day even begins. And because like attracts like, the day brings forth experiences that match that inner state. Doors open, ideas arrive, and wealth circulates. Compare this with the person who awakens in complaint, focusing on what is missing. That vibration of dissatisfaction repels blessings. It places a wall between them and their good. Gratitude, on the other hand, tears down walls and creates a wide, open gate. Joy works in harmony with gratitude, for joy is gratitude expressed in motion. Joy is the song of the soul that proclaims, all is well. I am provided for. When we live in joy, we radiate light, and that light attracts. Have you noticed how opportunities often come to those who carry laughter in their eyes and brightness in their tone? Such people do not repel. They draw others near, and with them, doors of supply open. A joyful heart is magnetic, and wealth loves to enter a heart that welcomes it with gladness. To magnetize wealth through gratitude and joy, one must practice them not only when circumstances are favorable, but especially when they appear unfavorable. To give thanks when the pocket is empty is the true test of faith. To rejoice when the bills are due is the evidence of trust, and when that trust is genuine, the law of supply never fails to answer. Imagine a farmer who sows seed in the ground. He does not cry because he cannot yet see the harvest, he rejoices, knowing the harvest is assured. Likewise, gratitude and joy are the sowing of spiritual seeds, and wealth is the inevitable harvest. It is not necessary to know how wealth will come. The mind that tries to calculate and control the method often grows anxious, for it cannot see the countless ways the universe may deliver supply. The way is not our concern, the vibration is. When we dwell in joy and thankfulness, the method reveals itself naturally. Perhaps an unexpected gift arrives, perhaps a new opportunity appears, perhaps the idea for a business or creation flows in. The source is infinite, and it will choose the perfect channel. Our task is simply to remain in the state that magnetizes the supply. Gratitude also dissolves envy. Many people secretly block their own prosperity by resenting the prosperity of others. They see a friend succeed and feel bitterness. They see someone driving a fine car or living in a beautiful home and feel envy. That feeling says to the universe, I do not want wealth, for it causes me pain when I see it in others. Thus the universe obeys and their own prosperity is delayed. But gratitude changes the vibration entirely. When we say, I rejoice in my friend's success, for it shows me what is possible. I bless their wealth, knowing that the same supply is available to me. We align with abundance instead of resisting it. Gratitude celebrates wealth wherever it appears, and in that celebration, we open ourselves to receive the same. Joy dissolves fear. Many hold money so tightly because they fear its loss. they clutch, hoard, and worry, and in doing so, they create the very conditions for loss. Fear contracts, joy expands. When we give joyfully, knowing that circulation ensures return, we live in the rhythm of wealth. Imagine water in a stream. If it tries to stop flowing, it stagnates, grows fall, and disappears. But when it flows freely, it stays fresh, clear, and abundant. Money is the same. A joyful giver keeps the stream of wealth moving, and the universe ensures the stream never runs dry. The practice of gratitude and joy does not require grand gestures, it requires sincerity. Writing down each day 10 things you are thankful for, and truly feeling the joy of them, creates a field of magnetism stronger than any effort born of worry. Smiling as you give, laughing as you work, delighting in simple pleasures, these are not trivial acts. They are powerful alignments with prosperity. Wealth comes not to the heavy-hearted but to the light-hearted. Some may ask, but how can I be grateful when I see so much lack? The answer is simple: by looking not at what is absent but at what is present. Even in the darkest circumstances, there is something to give thanks for. The breath, the heartbeat, the smallest blessing. Gratitude is not blindness, it is sight sharpened to notice what is already given. And as we notice and bless what is, it multiplies. The loaf expands, the fish increase, the oil pours without ceasing. That is the law. Others may ask, how can I feel joy when burdens press heavy? Joy is not denial, it is the choice to tune into the deeper reality that supply is assured. One can carry joy even through challenges, just as the sun continues to shine above clouds. The clouds may seem thick but they cannot extinguish the sun. Likewise, joy may seem hidden at times but it is never gone. To recall it, we need only lift our eyes above the cloud of circumstance and remember, I am one with infinite supply. All is well. And as we choose joy, the clouds part and provision shines through. Gratitude and joy are also contagious. When one person in a family begins to live in thankfulness and gladness, the atmosphere shifts for all. Opportunities multiply, harmony increases, and wealth flows not only to the individual but to those around them. A home filled with gratitude becomes a magnetized home. A workplace filled with joy becomes a prosperous workplace. And when communities embody these states, even nations can be uplifted. For wealth is not only material, it is peace, creativity, health, and flourishing. Gratitude and joy summon them all. The mind may argue, surely wealth comes only through hard work and strategy. But look deeper. Work without gratitude often breeds exhaustion, while gratitude without work can still open doors beyond reason. The highest expression is both together: work infused with joy, effort infused with gratitude. That is when miracles happen. Ideas come that would not have come through strain. Encounters occur that no human plan could have arranged. Timing unfolds in ways the intellect could never predict. And the result is wealth multiplied, not by toil alone but by alignment with universal law. So we must train ourselves daily in gratitude and joy, as one trains the body in strength. At first, it may seem like discipline, choosing thanks when complaints arise, choosing joy when fear whispers. But with practice, it becomes natural, a second nature, the very air we breathe. And once it becomes natural, the magnetism is constant. Wealth then is no longer chased, it is drawn. It finds us because we are resonating with it. Let us remember always, gratitude and joy magnetize wealth. They are not small virtues but cosmic forces. They are the language by which we converse with infinite supply. When we give thanks before seeing, we call the unseen into form. When we rejoice though the harvest is not yet visible, we assure its arrival. When we bless others' prosperity, we multiply our own. When we give joyfully, we invite wealth to return multiplied. Therefore, let us rise each day in gratitude, walk each hour in joy, and rest each night in thankfulness. Let us speak words of blessing over every coin, every bill, every opportunity. Let us rejoice in what is and what is to come. For in so doing, we become living magnets, and wealth in all its forms, love, health, creativity, and yes, money, cannot help but flow into our lives, drawn by the irresistible force of a grateful and joyful heart. Giving in faith opens the door to receiving. This truth, simple yet profound, is one of the great laws of life. To many it appears paradoxical. How can giving increase supply? How can letting go lead to gain? Yet those who have dared to trust this principle have discovered that it is not only spiritual poetry but living reality. When we give with fear, we shrink the channel of our blessings. When we give with faith, we enlarge it, and life rushes in to fill the space we have opened. Faithful giving is not measured by the size of the gift but by the spirit in which it is offered. A coin given with trust, joy, and love has greater power than a fortune given grudgingly or out of duty. For the universe is not counting the figures but weighing the vibration. When the heart releases freely, it signals to life itself, I am not in fear of lack, I trust the infinite supply. I am ready to circulate good, for I know it must return. This is why giving is never loss. Every time we give, we are planting seed. The seed may not spring up at once, but it is already alive, already growing in the unseen. Just as the farmer trusts the soil, so must we trust the law of circulation. The farmer does not stand over the ground, demanding instant fruit. He knows that life unfolds by seasons. In the same way, when we give in faith, we rest in the assurance that the law of increase is at work, and in due time, the harvest will come. Fear is the great thief. It whispers, if you give, you will not have enough. If you share, you may go without. Hold tight, for tomorrow is uncertain. But faith answers, the supply of the universe is endless. Every channel may change, but the source is eternal. I cannot be left without, for I am one with abundance itself. To give in faith is to silence the lie of lack and to prove, through action, our trust in divine order. When people cling tightly to their possessions, when they hold every coin as if it were their last, they are closing the very door through which new blessings might enter. Their grasp becomes a barrier. Life cannot pour into a clenched fist, but the open hand, stretched forth to give, becomes the very hand into which life pours anew. What we release in faith returns multiplied, for the universe abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill what has been lovingly given away. The greatest secret is that giving is not confined to money. One may give kindness, encouragement, forgiveness, or a listening ear. These gifts, too, return in kind, often in ways more valuable than gold. The one who gives patience finds patience shown to them. The one who gives joy awakens joy wherever they go, and the one who gives love discovers love flowing back from unexpected directions. Life mirrors what we send out. Money, however, is one of the most tangible forms in which we practice this law. Because money often carries fear, attachment, or mistrust, it becomes a perfect instrument for spiritual training. When we release money with joy, blessing it as it goes, we are training our consciousness in trust. We are saying to the universe, I believe more will always come. I will not hoard, for I am aligned with an endless ocean of supply. And because we expect more, more indeed arrives. Consider the one who gives to uplift another, not from pity, but from recognition of shared abundance. That gift becomes a seed of prosperity not only for the receiver but for the giver. The receiver may eat, build, or move forward with new strength, while the giver, unseen, has set in motion a wave of return that will reach them in time. The act of giving has already expanded their own consciousness, preparing them to hold greater good. There are countless stories of those who gave when it seemed impossible, only to find doors opening in ways they never imagined. A man, down to his last dollar, gives it away in faith, refusing to bow to fear. Soon after, work appears or an opportunity arises, and he receives many times what he let go. A woman shares her last bit of food, and shortly after, her pantry is filled by unexpected kindness. These are not accidents but demonstrations of law. Faithful giving sets invisible currents in motion, drawing back multiplied blessings. We must be careful, however, not to give with calculation, as if making a bargain with life. True giving is not, I will give this, but only if I get that in return. Such giving is still bound by fear and self-interest. It is not faith but transaction. The secret is to give freely, trusting that life's return will be perfect, even if it comes through channels we do not expect. Sometimes the return is not money but health, peace of mind, new friendships, or doors opening that no sum of money could have purchased. Giving in faith does not mean reckless scattering. It does not mean throwing away substance carelessly or indulging waste. It means giving with wisdom, with joy, with the inner assurance that what we release is part of a greater circulation. To give in faith is to know that every seed must bear fruit, and to sow consciously into good soil. Gratitude deepens the power of this law. When we give with a grateful heart, we align ourselves even more strongly with abundance. Gratitude says, I see what I have and I bless it. I trust the source and I rejoice in the opportunity to share. Such gratitude multiplies what it touches, just as sunlight multiplies the life of seeds. In gratitude, giving becomes not a burden but a joy, not a duty but a privilege. The mind trained in lack says, I will give when I have more. But the soul trained in faith says, I give now, for in giving, I demonstrate that I already have more than enough. The act of giving itself is proof of abundance, and by proving it, we draw more of it to us. If we wait until we feel rich to give, we may wait forever. But if we give now, even from the little we seem to have, we begin to prove the law and the little grows. When we give in faith, we participate in the rhythm of the universe. Life is circulation. The breath comes in, the breath goes out. The tide flows in, the tide flows out. The heart beats in, the heart beats out. To try to only receive and never give is like trying to breathe in without breathing out. It cannot be done. Giving and receiving are one motion, two sides of the same flow. To give in faith is to trust this rhythm, to step into harmony with the divine pulse of life. There are those who fear that if they give, they will be taken advantage of, or that others will not appreciate it. But the law of giving is not dependent on the attitude of the receiver. Even if the gift is unappreciated, the giver's harvest remains secure, for the universe itself has recorded the act. The law does not fail because another failed to show gratitude. Our own act of giving, done in faith, has already planted its seed in the soil of spirit. In truth, we never lose by giving. We only lose by withholding. What we hold in fear stagnates, what we release in faith multiplies. To give is to prove trust in the unseen, and to receive is to reap the harvest of that trust. The cycle is perfect, unfailing, eternal. So, when the opportunity arises to give, whether money, time, kindness, or talent, let us not shrink back in fear. Let us step forward in faith, blessing the gift, blessing the receiver, and blessing the source. For every gift given in faith is a door opening wider to greater good. Life cannot be outgiven. The more we pour forth, the more is poured back into us, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. To live this law is to live in freedom, no longer chained by fear of lack, no longer clutching in desperation. We move with the rhythm of abundance. We give with joy, we receive with gratitude, and we prove that the universe is rich, generous, and overflowing. Truly, giving in faith opens the door to receiving, and the door once open will never close. We are heirs to infinite supply. This truth, though often hidden by the illusions of lack and limitation, is the very foundation of abundance. Within every soul is a divine inheritance, untouched by circumstance, unshaken by appearances, and unaltered by the passing of time. This inheritance is not bound to banks, economies, or wages. It is not measured by coins or by notes. It is eternal substance, an inexhaustible wellspring, and every person is entitled to draw from it, for it is the natural birthright of spirit. When we look at the world with human eyes alone, we may see shortage, struggle, or unfair distribution. We may see some in wealth and others in want, and we may feel that fortune favors only a chosen few. But the truth is deeper than appearances. Wealth is not granted by chance nor withheld by fate. Wealth is a vibration, a consciousness, a knowing that the universe itself is abundant beyond measure. When we awaken to this knowing, we cease to live as beggars waiting for crumbs and begin to live as heirs, walking confidently into the treasury of infinite supply. Consider the flowers of the field. They do not toil, they do not worry, they do not store away for tomorrow, yet they bloom in beauty, clothed by the invisible hand of abundance. Consider the birds of the sky. They do not question whether the air will hold them. They do not wonder if the wind will cease. They rise and soar, trusting that the unseen currents are theirs to ride. So too is it with us. We are upheld by a law that cannot fail. The divine source, infinite and unfailing, sustains us as surely as the air sustains the bird and the soil sustains the flower. The problem is not the supply, for it is endless. The problem is our awareness of it. We have been trained in fear, schooled in doubt, and persuaded by appearances that scarcity is real. We have been taught to clutch and grasp, to compete and hoard, as though life were a pie too small to share. But the truth is that life is not a pie at all. It is a fountain, a river, a sea without shores. There is no need to fight for drops when the ocean of abundance is already ours. The hare does not beg for inheritance. The hare receives it naturally, with trust, knowing it belongs to them. To live as an heir to infinite supply is to shift from fear to faith, from doubt to trust, from lack to gratitude. It is to know that what we need is already on its way, often before we even ask. It is to speak words of power, not of worry. It is to release money with joy, knowing it returns multiplied. It is to stand in the middle of apparent scarcity and declare, I am rich beyond measure, for the source of all wealth lives within me. Every coin you hold, every bill you see, every form of money in circulation is but a symbol of something greater. It is a shadow of substance, a token of the infinite supply behind it. To confuse the token with the source is to miss the truth. The true source is spirit, limitless, ever-flowing, ever-giving. If one channel closes, another opens. If one job ends, another appears. If one stream dries, a new river begins to flow. The supply cannot end because it is not man-made. It is divine, and you are heir to it. Think for a moment of the sun. It shines without effort, radiating warmth and light across all creation. It does not choose whom to bless and whom to deny. It does not diminish by giving. It shines because shining is its nature. So it is with divine supply. It flows because flowing is its nature. It gives because giving is its essence. It does not ask who's worthy, it simply pours itself out. Your task is not to make the sun shine, but to open the shutters of your mind and allow its light in. So too with money and abundance, the flow is constant, but we must open ourselves to receive. How do we open? Through thought, word, and feeling. When we speak of lack, when we complain of shortage, when we declare that there is never enough, we close the door to supply. But when we affirm, I am heir to infinite supply, I live in abundance, I welcome prosperity, we unlock the floodgates. When we give thanks for what we already have, no matter how small it seems, we magnetize more. Gratitude is the key that opens the treasury. Joy is the signal that tells the universe we are ready to receive. To be an heir is also to act with dignity. The hare does not stoop in fear or scramble in desperation. The hare stands tall, confident, knowing the inheritance is secure. So must we carry ourselves in the consciousness of supply. When bills come due, let us not tremble. Instead, let us bless them, for they remind us of the circulation of good. When opportunities arise, let us not shrink back in doubt. Instead, let us step forward boldly, knowing we are supported. The hare is not timid, for the hare knows what belongs to them cannot be taken away. And let us remember this truth: supply is not only money. It is ideas, opportunities, health, creativity, love, and inspiration. Money is but one channel of abundance, and even it is only a symbol. The true wealth lies in the invisible substance that shapes money, the creative energy that manifests as supply in all forms. When you need money, ask not merely for coins but for the ideas that generate wealth, the wisdom that attracts prosperity, the guidance that leads you to open doors. The infinite supply flows through countless channels, and the hare receives it all. Some may say, but I do not see this supply. My bank account is empty. My cupboards are bare. To them I say, what you see now is not the final truth. Appearances shift like shadows, but substance remains eternal. Look beyond the shadow to the source. Declare your inheritance. Speak as the hare, not as the beggar. Say, I am provided for even now. My needs are met in perfect ways. I trust the invisible supply to appear in visible form. In that trust, doors will open, ideas will arrive, people will appear, and provision will come, often in ways beyond imagination. It is not arrogance to claim your inheritance, it is obedience to truth. The universe is abundant not for a select few but for all. To deny your right to prosperity is to deny the nature of the source itself. Imagine a wealthy parent leaving an inheritance for their child. Would the child honor the parent by refusing to accept it? Would they prove humility by choosing poverty instead? Of course not. They honor the gift by receiving it with gratitude, by using it wisely, by allowing it to bless not only themselves but others. So it is with us. To live in poverty of spirit or body is not humility, it is forgetfulness. True humility is to acknowledge the source and to accept its gifts with reverence. And when we do receive, let us remember the law of circulation. Supply flows like a river, and rivers must move. To hoard in fear is to stagnate the flow. To give in love is to keep the current alive. Every act of giving is a declaration of trust. Trust that more will come. Trust that the river is endless. Trust that the air will never be forsaken. So give freely, joyfully, wisely, and watch as what you release returns multiplied. We are heirs not merely of wealth but of wholeness, peace, and joy. Infinite supply includes the laughter of children, the comfort of love, the sparkle of inspiration, the strength of health, and the serenity of mind. These too are treasures in the divine storehouse, and they are yours by right. Never limit your inheritance to money alone. Claim the full richness of life in every dimension. Say, I inherit health, I inherit peace, I inherit love, I inherit prosperity. For truly, the universe withholds nothing. Let us live, then, in remembrance of who we are. We are not paupers scraping in the dust, we are heirs walking in light. We are not victims of lack, we are creators of abundance. We are not servants of money, money is servant to us. We are heirs to infinite supply, and that supply never ceases, never diminishes, never runs dry. Today release fear, release doubt, release every word of complaint. Instead, speak words of power. I am one with infinite supply. I am provided for. I am prosperous. I am blessed beyond measure. Carry yourself as the heir you are. Give thanks for every sign of abundance, no matter how small. Expect good at every turn. And as you do, you will find that the invisible inheritance becomes visible, that the unseen treasure becomes manifest, and that the infinite supply proves itself in your life again and again. For this is the truth that sets us free. We are heirs to infinite supply, and nothing can separate us from our inheritance.